What if everything you thought you knew about the British royal family was about to change? In a stunning turn of events, the palace has just made an announcement that has sent shockwaves across the globe. For an institution rooted in centuries of tradition, this revelation is more than just a headline. It's a moment of reckoning. Could this be the tipping point for a monarchy trying to find its place in a modern world? Will it unite the royal family or deepen the cracks that have been slowly forming over the years? And most importantly, how will this announcement shape the future of one of the world's most iconic institutions? Let's unravel the story that's captured the attention of millions. The air was tense with anticipation, the kind of moment that seemed to stand still. Cameras flashed, reporters scrambled for answers, and the public stood frozen, watching their screens as news anchors repeated the same words. The royal family has just made an announcement that could change everything. Speculation ran wild. Was it about King Charles III, Prince William, or perhaps Harry and Meghan? Whatever the subject, it was clear this wasn't just another royal update. It was history in the making. The ripple effect of such an announcement is almost immediate in today's digital age. Social media erupted with theories. Some guessed it was about the line of succession. Others whispered about a scandal long buried finally dragged into the light. The monarchy, an institution steeped in tradition and resilience, suddenly felt vulnerable, teetering on the edge of a revelation that could shake its very foundations. For centuries, the British royal family has been both revered and criticized, a symbol of continuity and change. But it is also an institution that has mastered the art of secrecy, guarding its private matters with the kind of precision only a centuries-old monarchy could manage. And yet, every now and then, cracks appear, moments where the facade falters and the truth begins to seep through. Could this announcement be one of those moments? The speculation brought to mind echoes of past royal scandals, moments that tested the monarchy's ability to endure. One can't help but think of Edward VIII, the king who abdicated for love, turning his back on the throne for Wallis Simpson. Or Princess Diana, the woman who captured hearts around the globe but lived a life shadowed by turmoil and heartbreak. Each event brought its own storm, but the monarchy survived, battered but intact. Still, survival isn't the same as invincibility. This latest revelation raised uncomfortable questions. Has the institution evolved enough to handle the pressures of a modern world? Or were its traditions too rigid to withstand the weight of public scrutiny? To understand the significance of this announcement, one must first delve into the past, into the very fabric of a family that has always balanced the precarious line between public service and private lives. It's impossible to separate the royal family from the history they've created and lived through. Generations of kings and queens have weathered wars, revolutions, and shifting societal norms. Yet even in the most challenging times, the monarchy has remained a constant. But constancy isn't without its cost. The demand for perfection, for unwavering dedication, often leaves little room for human error or vulnerability. And that's where the cracks begin to form. As the announcement reverberated through the media, one couldn't ignore the parallels to recent challenges. The passing of Queen Elizabeth II marked the end of an era, leaving King Charles III with a monumental task, leading the monarchy in a time of increasing public skepticism. His ascension was a reminder that the crown, while symbolic, carries a heavy weight. It's a role that demands more than just ceremony. It requires relevance in an ever-changing world. The younger generation of royals, too, has faced its share of challenges. Prince William, groomed for the throne from birth, has carried the expectations of a nation on his shoulders. His dedication to modernizing the monarchy is evident, but even he isn't immune to criticism. Then there's Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, whose decision to step back from royal duties sparked a media firestorm. Their revelations about life behind palace walls painted a picture far removed from the fairy tale narrative many had long believed. This new announcement seemed to tie all these threads together, a culmination of years of tension, secrets, and shifting dynamics. But what could it possibly reveal? Was it a long overdue reform? A reimagining of the monarchy for a modern age? Or was it something darker? A revelation that would force the public to reevaluate everything they thought they knew about the royal family? The world waited with bated breath. Every second felt like an eternity as headlines hinted at something monumental. It wasn't just about the content of the announcement, but what it represented. This was more than a statement. It was a turning point, a moment that would be dissected, debated, and remembered for generations. As anticipation grew, the royal family's long history of secrecy came under scrutiny once more. Behind the gilded gates and centuries-old traditions lies a world that few truly understand. It's a place where duty often takes precedence over desire, where personal sacrifices are made for the greater good of the crown. But what happens when those sacrifices become too much to bear? With each passing moment, it became clear that this wasn't just another routine announcement. The weight of history, the expectations of a nation, and the challenges of a modern world all converged into this singular event. Whatever was about to be revealed, it was certain to leave an indelible mark, not just on the monarchy but on the hearts and minds of people everywhere. The whispers had barely begun to settle when a flood of memories came rushing back, moments etched in history that defined the monarchy's resilience and fragility. From Edward VIII's dramatic abdication to the turbulent years of Princess Diana's life, these events served as reminders of how even an institution as steadfast as the British monarchy could falter under the weight of public scrutiny. This latest announcement seemed to fit within that lineage, yet it felt more monumental, more immediate. As the spotlight turned to the announcement, parallels with Diana's era became unavoidable. Her story, from the dazzling fairy tale wedding to the tragic loss that shook the world, remains one of the most poignant chapters in royal history. Diana wasn't just a princess. She was a symbol of change, a human face behind the institution's sometimes impenetrable veneer. Her open defiance of royal traditions, her candor about her struggles, and her profound impact on humanitarian causes all painted a portrait of someone determined to make the monarchy more relatable. Yet her life also highlighted the cost of such a role. Behind the grandeur lay a woman struggling with the dual pressures of public expectation and private heartache. Her infamous 1995 interview was a groundbreaking moment, offering a rare glimpse into the reality of royal life. "There were 3 of us in this marriage," she admitted, referencing Prince Charles's relationship with Camilla Parker Bowles. That single statement encapsulated the complexity of balancing personal happiness with royal duty. Diana's influence didn't end with her passing. Her legacy continues to shape the monarchy, particularly through her sons, Prince William and Prince Harry. Each has carried her memory forward in their own way. William, by embracing his role as a future king with compassion and modernity, and Harry, by forging a path independent of royal constraints. Yet their approaches couldn't be more different, and therein lies the tension that has come to define the modern royal family. This latest announcement seemed to echo some of the same themes that Diana's life and legacy embodied: change, conflict, and an evolving monarchy. Could it be tied to the ongoing fallout between the brothers? The strained relationship between William and Harry has been the subject of endless speculation, particularly since Harry and Meghan's decision to step back from royal duties. Their tell-all interviews and public revelations about life within the palace walls exposed a rift that has yet to heal. Some wondered if the announcement signaled a reconciliation, a long-awaited gesture of unity. Others speculated that it might be the opposite, a further entrenchment of division. The media frenzy only added to the uncertainty. Headlines ran wild, each more dramatic than the last, while commentators debated the implications with the fervor of a nation obsessed with its royals. But this wasn't just about personal relationships. The monarchy itself has faced increasing scrutiny in recent years, with debates about its relevance growing louder. Younger generations question its place in a modern democracy, while critics argue that the institution represents a bygone era. Even staunch supporters acknowledge that the monarchy must evolve to survive. Could this announcement mark the beginning of that evolution? King Charles III, now firmly seated on the throne, has navigated these challenges with a mix of tradition and adaptation. His reign has already shown glimpses of change, a focus on environmental issues, streamlining royal operations, and making the monarchy more accessible. Yet the shadow of his past looms large. His relationship with Diana, once a source of public sympathy for her, has often cast him in a less favorable light. Even as king, his image remains complex, tied inexorably to the events of the 1980s and 1990s. The announcement seemed to highlight the delicate balance Charles must maintain. As the head of a family and an institution, his role demands not only leadership but also a vision for the future. The weight of his mother's legacy adds to that challenge. Queen Elizabeth II's reign was a remarkable era of stability and continuity, and her passing left a void that Charles has sought to fill in his own way. But stepping out of her shadow is no small task, and the public's expectations are as high as ever. This moment of reckoning also casts a light on the younger royals. As the line of succession moves closer to William and eventually his children, questions arise about what kind of monarchy they will inherit. William's role as Prince of Wales has already shifted the dynamic, with a focus on modernization and connecting with the public in new ways. His wife, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, has also played a significant role, her poise and dedication earning her widespread admiration. Together, they represent the future of the monarchy, one that must balance tradition with change. Meanwhile, Harry and Meghan continue to carve out their own path in the United States, a choice that has brought them both freedom and criticism. Their revelations about their experiences within the royal system have raised important questions about mental health, racism, and the pressures of life in the public eye. Yet their actions have also sparked debates about loyalty and the nature of royal duty. It's a complex narrative, one that adds another layer to the ongoing saga of the royal family. As speculation swirled around the announcement, one thing became clear. This was not a moment to be taken lightly. Whether it was a bold step forward or a response to mounting pressure, the implications would be far-reaching. The world held its breath, waiting to see not just what was said, but what it would mean for the monarchy and for the people it represents. The weight of the announcement continued to ripple through the public consciousness, sparking debates that ranged from curious speculation to outright disbelief. Every corner of society seemed to have an opinion. Was this a long overdue attempt to modernize the monarchy? Or was it a reaction to pressures so great that even the most storied institution in Britain couldn't withstand them? To fully understand the stakes, it's essential to consider the royal family's role in a society that has changed dramatically over the years. Decades ago, the monarchy was seen as an almost untouchable force, part of the fabric of British identity. But today, with younger generations questioning its relevance and the public demanding greater transparency, the institution faces a reckoning. The royal scandals of the 1990s were among the first major cracks in the monarchy's untouchable image. The dissolution of Charles and Diana's marriage played out under a relentless media spotlight, with every detail scrutinized and debated. Diana's tragic death in 1997 only intensified the spotlight, leaving the royal family to grapple with an unprecedented wave of public grief and anger. The perception of a cold, detached response from the monarchy during that period caused lasting damage to its image, forcing it to adapt in ways that were previously unthinkable. But the world didn't stand still after Diana's passing. The 21st century brought with it a new set of challenges. The rise of social media turned private lives into public spectacles, and no family, no matter how protected, was immune. For the royals, this meant every move was analyzed, every expression dissected. Even routine appearances became opportunities for the press and public to speculate, praise, or criticize. This shift in public engagement was most evident during Harry and Meghan's departure from royal life. Their decision to step back, announced in early 2020, was a bombshell moment that highlighted deep divisions within the family. Meghan's candid interviews about her struggles with mental health and her experiences with racism brought a level of openness rarely seen from members of the royal family. For many, this was a necessary step toward modernization. For others, it was seen as a betrayal of the institution. The fallout from Megxit, as the press dubbed it, continues to shape perceptions of the monarchy. Harry's memoir, Spare, and the couple's Netflix series further fanned the flames, painting a picture of a family at odds with itself. But this wasn't just about Harry and Meghan. It was about the institution as a whole. Their actions forced the monarchy to confront uncomfortable truths about its role in a diverse, rapidly evolving world. King Charles III's reign has been defined by attempts to navigate these turbulent waters. As a monarch, he has embraced causes that resonate with contemporary issues, such as climate change and sustainability. Yet his past remains a frequent topic of discussion, often overshadowing his efforts to move forward. For many, the image of Charles is still tied to the scandals of the 1980s and 1990s, and winning over skeptics remains one of his greatest challenges. The announcement at the heart of this story seemed to encapsulate all these dynamics. It wasn't just a moment of intrigue, it was a moment of consequence. Every word spoken, every gesture made by the royal family was analyzed for clues about the future. Some saw this as an opportunity for the monarchy to demonstrate its willingness to adapt, to show that it could remain relevant in a rapidly changing world. Others feared it was a sign of deeper fractures within the institution, fractures that could eventually lead to its downfall. Within the palace walls, the announcement likely reflected more than just a decision. It reflected a culmination of pressures and debates that have been simmering for years. The royal family has long been an expert at projecting stability. But beneath that polished exterior lies a complex web of relationships, responsibilities, and expectations. Balancing these elements is no small feat, especially in an era where privacy is nearly impossible to maintain. At the heart of this story is the question of legacy. The royal family isn't just a group of individuals. It's an institution that represents centuries of history, culture, and identity. But as society evolves, so too must the monarchy. What worked in the days of Queen Victoria or even Queen Elizabeth II may no longer resonate with a world that prioritizes transparency and inclusivity. The younger generation of royals plays a critical role in this transition. Prince William, as the heir apparent, represents the future of the monarchy. His steady, thoughtful approach has earned him the respect of many, but the expectations placed upon him are immense. Every decision he makes is seen as a reflection of what the monarchy could become under his reign. His wife, Catherine, has become a beloved figure in her own right, often praised for her grace and dedication. Together, they've embraced causes that speak to the challenges of modern life, from mental health awareness to early childhood development. But even with their popularity, the weight of the crown looms large. The question isn't just whether they can uphold the traditions of the monarchy, it's whether they can redefine them for a new era. As for Harry and Meghan, their decision to step away has made them outliers, but it has also given them a unique perspective. Their criticism of the institution has been both a source of tension and a catalyst for change. Whether intentional or not, their actions have forced the monarchy to confront issues that might otherwise have been ignored. The announcement, whatever its details, seemed to tie all these threads together. It wasn't just a story about the royal family, it was a story about Britain itself, about a nation grappling with its identity and its traditions. As the public waited for further clarification, the world watched, knowing that this moment could mark the beginning of a new chapter in the monarchy's history. The announcement's shockwave continued to ripple through global headlines, sparking conversations not just in Britain but around the world. Every word uttered by the palace was scrutinized, every gesture by a royal family member dissected. For an institution steeped in centuries-old tradition, this moment felt unprecedented, a convergence of modern pressures and historical weight. The monarchy was once again in the spotlight, and the stakes couldn't have been higher. Reactions poured in from every corner of the globe. Social media became a battleground of opinions, with hashtags trending worldwide. Some users praised the announcement as a step toward transparency and relevance, while others questioned its motives and timing. News outlets aired endless panels of royal commentators, each speculating on the ramifications for the monarchy's future. Was this a calculated move to regain public trust, or was it a desperate attempt to shield the institution from crumbling under the weight of modern scrutiny? For the royal family, the announcement wasn't just a public statement, it was a pivotal moment in their history. Inside the palace, every decision carried immense weight. Each royal family member played a role in shaping the narrative that would emerge from this moment. King Charles III, as head of the family and the monarchy, bore the greatest responsibility. His vision for the crown had always been clear: a streamlined, modernized institution that could resonate with a diverse and evolving population. But translating that vision into reality required navigating delicate family dynamics and public expectations. Prince William, the next in line to the throne, emerged as a central figure in the unfolding story. As the Prince of Wales, his public image has largely been one of stability and dedication. William's efforts to modernize the monarchy have been widely praised, but this announcement placed him in an even more critical spotlight. His actions and words would inevitably shape how the public perceived this new chapter of royal history. Would he rise to the occasion, solidifying his image as a future king? Or would the pressures of the moment expose cracks in the carefully constructed royal facade? Then there was Catherine, Princess of Wales, whose steady presence has earned her admiration and respect. Her recent health challenges, though largely kept private, had drawn sympathy and admiration from the public. Now, with her recovery officially announced, Catherine's return to public life symbolized resilience, a quality the monarchy desperately needed to project in this turbulent time. Together, William and Catherine represented the monarchy's future, but this announcement added new layers to the expectations placed upon them. Meanwhile, the actions of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle couldn't be ignored. The couple's decision to step back from royal duties and relocate to the United States had forever altered the royal family's dynamics. Their revelations about life behind palace walls painted a picture of an institution struggling to adapt to modern realities. While some viewed their criticism as a betrayal, others saw it as a necessary push for change. This announcement inevitably reignited debates about their role in the monarchy's evolution, or lack thereof. Beyond the family itself, the announcement had broader implications for the institution as a whole. The monarchy's relevance has long been a topic of debate, particularly among younger generations. A 2024 poll revealed that while the majority of Britons still supported the monarchy, younger demographics were increasingly ambivalent. Many questioned the monarchy's role in a democratic society, arguing that it represented an outdated system of privilege. This announcement had the potential to either reinforce those arguments or challenge them, depending on how it was received and implemented. The royal family's connection to the Commonwealth added another layer of complexity. The Commonwealth, a group of 56 member states, many of which were once part of the British Empire, has always been a cornerstone of the monarchy's global influence. However, in recent years, several member nations have reconsidered their ties to the crown. Barbados became a republic in 2021, and other nations, including Jamaica and Australia, have debated following suit. The announcement's impact on these relationships would likely play a critical role in determining the monarchy's global standing. Inside Buckingham Palace, the announcement was more than just a statement, it was a strategy. The royal family has always understood the importance of narrative, of controlling the story before it controls them. This moment was no exception. Advisors worked tirelessly to shape the messaging, ensuring that every word reflected the monarchy's commitment to its future. Yet, behind closed doors, the reality was undoubtedly more complicated. The family's dynamics, already strained by years of public and private challenges, were now under even greater pressure. As the public dissected every aspect of the announcement, one question loomed large. What would this mean for the monarchy's legacy? For centuries, the royal family has been a symbol of continuity, a living link to Britain's past. But as society evolves, so too must the institution. The announcement, whatever its specifics, signaled a recognition of that reality, a willingness, however reluctant, to adapt to the demands of a modern world. But change is rarely easy, especially for an institution defined by tradition. The royal family has long balanced the competing forces of progress and preservation, attempting to modernize without losing its essence. This moment was no different. The announcement represented a crossroads, a chance to redefine the monarchy's role in the 21st century. Yet it also posed risks. If mishandled, it could deepen public skepticism, erode trust, and accelerate the calls for reform or even abolition. As the world waited for more details, one thing became clear. This was a moment of transformation. The royal family, long seen as a symbol of unchanging tradition, was stepping into uncharted territory. The announcement was just the beginning. What followed would determine not just the monarchy's future, but its place in the hearts and minds of those it seeks to serve. The dust had yet to settle, and already the world seemed to shift in response to the royal family's announcement. Every moment that followed felt like a test of tradition, of adaptability, and of the monarchy's capacity to remain relevant in a world that had outgrown much of its past. The words spoken from Buckingham Palace would be remembered not merely for their content but for what they represented: the convergence of history and a future uncertain. As details emerged, it became clear that this was no ordinary declaration. The announcement reached far beyond the palace gates, its implications rippling across nations. Commonwealth leaders responded swiftly, some offering cautious support, while others used the moment to reignite debates about their own ties to the monarchy. Jamaica, for instance, had long expressed intentions to transition to a republic, and this announcement provided new momentum for those calls. Australia, too, found itself revisiting the age-old question: should it maintain its constitutional ties to the British Crown? Within the United Kingdom, the public's reaction remained as polarized as ever. For some, the announcement was a much-needed step toward transparency and modernity. For others, it was an unsettling reminder that the monarchy, while enduring, was not invincible. The conversation wasn't just about the specifics of the statement. It was about the broader role of the royal family in contemporary Britain. This moment felt particularly poignant against the backdrop of King Charles III's reign. Having ascended the throne after Queen Elizabeth II's remarkable 70-year tenure, Charles faced a unique challenge. His mother had been a symbol of stability, a steady presence through decades of change. In contrast, Charles's reign was marked by an era of questioning of the monarchy's role, its purpose, and its ability to resonate with a younger, more diverse population. The royal family's response to these challenges had been mixed. While Charles championed environmental causes and streamlined royal operations, his efforts were often overshadowed by lingering controversies. The younger royals, meanwhile, carried their own burdens. Prince William, as the future king, navigated the pressures of balancing tradition with the need to modernize. His wife, Catherine, served as a stabilizing force, her public image one of grace and reliability. And then there was Prince Harry. His departure from royal duties, coupled with his and Meghan Markle's candid interviews, had fundamentally shifted the way people viewed the monarchy. While some saw them as disruptive, others considered their actions a necessary wake-up call for an institution long resistant to change. Their critiques of racism and mental health within the royal framework weren't just personal. They reflected broader societal issues that the monarchy could no longer ignore. As the public debated the implications of the announcement, one truth emerged: the monarchy was at a crossroads. The institution that had weathered wars, abdications, and scandals now faced a challenge far more nuanced. It wasn't simply about surviving. It was about proving its relevance in a world that demanded authenticity, inclusivity, and accountability. For centuries, the monarchy had been a symbol of continuity, a bridge between Britain's past and its present. But in a world where change is the only constant, even the most enduring institutions must adapt. The royal family's announcement, though steeped in mystery, hinted at a recognition of this reality. Whether it was a commitment to reform, a bold step toward modernity, or a reluctant response to public pressure, it marked a turning point. Behind the scenes, the royal family likely wrestled with the implications just as much as the public did. The pressures of maintaining unity within the family, coupled with the weight of public expectation, created a delicate balancing act. Advisors and officials worked tirelessly to manage the fallout, knowing that every move would be scrutinized. For the British public, the announcement raised broader questions about national identity. What did the monarchy truly represent in the 21st century? Was it an anchor grounding the nation in its history, or a relic of a bygone era? These questions weren't new, but the announcement brought them into sharper focus. And while opinions varied, one thing was certain: this moment would shape the monarchy's trajectory for years to come. Globally, the royal family remained a source of fascination. From Canada to India, from Australia to South Africa, the world watched as the British monarchy navigated this pivotal moment. For many, the institution was less about governance and more about symbolism, a connection to a shared history. Yet, as societies evolved, even symbols needed to adapt. The announcement served as a reminder that the monarchy's survival depended not just on its ability to endure, but on its willingness to change. As the world waited for the next chapter to unfold, the royal family's announcement stood as a testament to the complexity of tradition in a modern age. It was a moment that asked difficult questions, not just of the monarchy, but of all who looked to it for meaning. And while the answers weren't yet clear, one thing was undeniable: history had been made. The British monarchy, for all its grandeur and tradition, had stepped into a new era, one where the past and future met in a delicate dance. The announcement was only the beginning. What came next would determine not just the fate of the royal family, but its place in the hearts and minds of the people it served. With that, we have reached the end of today's video. If you have come this far with us, be sure to check out other videos on the channel.